Well, that experience actually talking there. I like that answer actually. Yeah, that's experience talking there. Multilingual. Have you actually, do you have a lot of multilingual learners in your classroom, for example, now? Are you
Oh yeah.
working with
Well,
many of them?
my third grade class, there are majority multilingual learners, majority, and I'm talking about like 60 to 70%.
Ooh. So
I'd
multilingual
say like
learners, we're actually talking about that they speak more than three languages.
some of them do. Most of them just speak English and Spanish.
English, Spanish.
Spanish mostly, and then
Mm,
some English is really where we're
got it.
at.
That's a really
So
good one.
really, I mean, again, we're going back to that the consequences, that ethical consequence of prioritizing communication in terms of articulating fluency
Yeah.
before solid literacy. Because in order for them to have that agency, they need to be literate.
Yes.
Otherwise,
100%.
they fall into a dependency, and I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit
Yeah.
if we get there if we get there.
If we get there. But yeah, I mean, you said again, this is another good one. But what are the ethical consequences of prioritizing communicative fluency before
Okay,
solid literacy?
so yeah, this is I guess we are going to get there. So
Hmm.
so creating articulate students who cannot advocate for themselves in writing. That is at the crux of what I was alluding to before. So yeah, we're kind of
Yeah.
carrying over. Those are the some of the consequences and that dependency that I was referring to. So making or we're mistaking survival English, survival language for long-term competence. And although a student can be very competent and be very knowledgeable and be very intelligent and speaks very well, if they're not able to read or write,
Yeah.
that places them in a dependency role. Dependency, like my older brother who depended on me to read his letters when he got them in the mail, right?
Yeah.
It's also locking learners out of academia and civic pathways, really, because there's in when you take civics here, there's a lot of history involved, a lot of reading involved, and if
Yeah.
you can't read, you're not going to
What you
pass
gonna
that
do
civics
exactly?
test, you
Oh,
know?
yes.
So it kind of boxes them out of that as well.
Yes.
And it's just really I can't pound on this drum enough about it. It's really just kind of reinforcing the dependency instead of independence, right? They're going to be mired with this, notion that the only thing I'm ever going to be able to do is work in the kitchen. I'm only going to be able to find a job in construction where the boss is yelling from across the yard, "Hey, pick up the timber over there," or
Yeah.
working in a mechanic shop, where you're getting all messy. And there's nothing wrong with these jobs, but some people aspire to do more and they're held back because of
Yeah.
literacy,
That's true,
right?
and still I actually know a couple of teachers actually that they preferred actually to go in the fluency part and literacy and all that. They still believe actually fluency in all these parts and just like talking communicative, it's a lot more important than being literate. I mean, the literacy
Well,
part. They totally live
ethically
behind.
ethically speaking, though, like that sends such an awful message. It sends the message that this is good enough for you. Like this is it.
Mhm.
Like I only think Juan's going to be good enough for cutting my yard, and I only think Pablo's good enough to wash the dishes. And so this is all you really need. This is really what's good enough for you. Ethically speaking, as a teacher, you shouldn't be teaching if this is your mindset. Honestly, you
Mhm.
really shouldn't be in front of multilingual learners. You shouldn't be in front of newcomers if your mindset is, well, I just want to get them to where they can communicate well enough to tell their boss they need to go to the bathroom or they need to dance. It's like, really, man?
Yeah, what? Now that you say that, now that I'm actually bringing also this type of thing, here, for example, in this country right now, we're actually facing such a situation. Uh, I I clearly remember it happened actually a couple of months ago, and then the school principal just told me, "Oh, Mike, please, you know what we have to do is just move on. We don't want you to teach kids to read, or I don't want you to, but we only want the kids." To speak, just to say, oh, may I go to the toilet? May I go this? May I do that? May I do that? Okay, hi, nice to meet you. Bye bye. That's what they want.
Yeah. Huh?
And this
Yeah.
is what
Well,
it's happening. And now this is how I see it now. And through your
yeah.
words and your explanation is like, okay, this is
This
something.
this
This is like an agenda or something. I don't know.
it is very much so because literacy delayed is literacy denied, Mike.
Yeah,
Literacy delayed is literacy denied. If they're saying, well, for now, let's get, you're basically saying, let's shut this door down. This kid ain't good enough.
Exactly.
Regardless of what their mindset is or intelligence, you talk about a skirting away from dignity. There's nothing more undignified than denying someone a chance to become literate. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah. I
Ethically
totally
speaking,
agree. Totally agree.
ethically that's just terrible speaking.
It's terrible, actually. I still remember when the principal of the school just told me that, Mike, please, we're not gonna do this. I want you to move on. I don't want you to teach them how to read. No, forget about phonics, forget about reading, forget about writing, forget about it. You just go tell them, teach them just how to say hello, good morning, bye bye. I mean, make them talk. That's it. I'm like,
Makes you wonder
what
who's
are you?
telling them.
I would like to know that. I mean, who is
It's the
actually just
power
setting up this
structure.
type of rule? Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. And I feel a little bit identified with you in that sense because I actually go all out war. You know what? You're telling me that. You come to me and say that I don't have to. What are you saying? What are you asking me for? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
no, I'm not gonna do that. And until I'm actually the only person in charge of this, until my last day, I'm not gonna just do that. I'm just gonna keep going and teach reading, writing, phonics. You want them to be really good learners. You want them to actually use the language. They need to know. They need to know how to read. They need to know how to
Yeah.
write. Phonics.
It's all it goes down to the whole agency part. If you
Yeah.
think about the bigger picture here, if they're being denied this, they're being denied agency. Okay, the access to agencies, what I was telling you earlier, remember? They want to make it sound like an access to opportunities. But
Yeah.
really what really is behind the scenes is access to agency.
Yeah.
And that's really what we should be aiming toward. And in order for them to be that, they have to be literate. Anyway,
Yeah.
good.
I tell them, as long as I'm in this position, I'm not gonna allow that. And and
Good.
and they're
You
like, oh
shouldn't.
no, 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 you cannot do it, please. You gotta do it like this. Like, no, you want to do it, you gotta kick me out of this position.
Mike, no, you can be way more clever than them. Okay. You're obviously smarter than them. So if they say don't teach phonics, okay, then you're not teaching them how to learn how to speak better. So if they're interested not to teach them to learn how to read, but to learn how to speak, then teaching them phonics would be the way to you just exclude the fact that in
Yeah.
teaching phonics, when you teach phonics, you are teaching reading. You just don't tell them
You know what happened? He said,
that.
no, I said it, but he was like, no, no, you know what, Mike? Will it take too long to teach phonics or something like it? And I'm like,
No.
no, 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 it won't. Maybe, okay, I want to check it out if it's possible or not. I mean, and then we decide if we can actually just add phonics or blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, hold on a second. Who's the one who knows here? You or me? You're the principal. I don't care. But how it how do we actually learn a language without even knowing how to read or how to write? No,
Right, right. Well,
doesn't
I
make
think
sense at all.
that's the biggest thing about phonics that I tell people is that you are teaching reading when you're teaching phonics. You're teaching
Hmm.
them how to articulate, you're teaching them how to read, and essentially down the road, you're teaching them how to write. So
Yeah,
phonics is crucial for that. Now,
definitely.
I mean, I'm not suggesting you do 2 hours of phonics. That's kind of boring. But if you contextualize it and you infuse it in there and
Yeah,
integrate it with your curriculum, nobody would be the wiser. Nobody will know that you're doing
yeah.
that.
That's what I'm actually doing. Because there's no
That's the
other way.
smartest way
There's
to
no,
do it. It's the
yeah,
smartest way to
there's
do it
no other
from one
way,
teacher
man.
to another.
Yeah,
That's how I do it. People are like,
that's what
hey,
you have to do
how
it.
is it you get away with it? I'm not getting away with anything. I'm just doing what I'm being asked to do. I'm told to do it this way, so I'm doing it this way.
Yeah,
And they kind of
exactly.
look at me, scratching their head. I'm like, okay, and they walk away.
So
It's
here
all in the
we
framing,
again,
man.
exactly, exactly. So here's the other thing because I mean we've been talking about the ethical and all that. So the consequences of prioritizing communicative fluency before solid literacy, we were talking about it. But now,
Hmm.
can teachers ethically inside systems that are structurally unequal, standardized, or even harmful, or does ethical teaching require resistance?
Well, I'll leave it to you. I'll put it to you this way. Ethics does not require permission. I don't need someone's permission to do something that's ethically correct.
Exactly.
Right? Where you get into the weeds, though, Mike, is what someone defines as ethical.
Mm.
That's where you have to parse what's good and bad, because what might be ethical for
For you,
me
exactly.
may not be what someone else defines as ethical, right? And so when you start loosely throwing, this is why I was referring to earlier, like it's ethics and dignity are rooted in something that's higher than human beings. It has to be, because that's the only way we can all be held to the same standard. So if you have a purely secular way of looking at it as a teacher, then you're bound by that, which is human curated. And when anything that's human is flawed,
Yes.
okay? And that's the problem here. So teaching, honestly, inside dishonest structures is still resistance, okay? I think you and I are probably walking evidence of that.
Yeah.
I think for me, at this point in my career, I I've learned this about administrators. They love to hear themselves talk, and they love to frame things a certain way. They like to play with words. They like to play with the language. They like to play with the syntax. They rearrange things. They do these little coin phrases and whatever buzzwords. And so I'm like, the only way you're gonna beat them at this game is if you play the same game by the same rules.
Yeah.
And so that's really all I do is I just change the wording. I change the phrasing. I change the whole.
In the end, it's a
I
word
just
game.
changed I play the word game with them. Is this the game you want to play with me? It's like that's like what was that from The Godfather? They want to
Yeah.
mess with me. Oh no, it wasn't The Godfather. It was The Untouchables. He wants to mess with me.
Oh,
I'm gonna mess with him.
with him.
And that's the approach I take. It's like if you're gonna cut, but it's more not like the mafia. It's more like
But it
I'm the
sounds like it
teacher.
sometimes.
I know it does. I know it does because I'm talking about my students,
Yeah.
you know, and they don't have a voice, Mike.
Yeah.
They can't defend themselves. They don't have they don't have a way to defend themselves. So I defend them. I become their leader, if you will. I become their
Yeah.
champion, if you will. And so if I have to play this game, and mind you, it's a very sophisticated and complicated game,
Yeah.
but it is nonetheless a game. This is why I'm so deeply into Machiavelli. I don't know if you read
Oh,
Machiavelli or
of
not.
course.
If you read
Machiavelli.
Machiavelli, now there's nothing that puts me at odds with my religion than Machiavelli. Absolutely nothing puts me at odds worse than Machiavelli. But it's like what I told you before. It's like you have to find that middle ground. You have
Yeah.
to be in the middle. If you're gonna, you have to know what the rules are so that you don't get yourself in trouble as a teacher. Now, I don't
Definitely.
expect all the teachers to go out and buy the Prince and start reading Machiavelli, but
But it's a good start anyway.
it's a good start if you want to play this game because that's the game they're playing. I
Yes.
make no mistake about it. This is the game they're playing, and so as a teacher, I'm like, okay, fine, let's do this. You want to dance? We'll dance. But at the end of the day, I'm not dancing because I'm ambitious and I want to climb up the ladder and I want a bigger position. I'm dancing because I want my students to have the best education that I can give them. And you're standing in the way. So that's my approach. And that's just me being brutally honest. But is it an unequal system? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the small acts matter, Mike. I'm not suggesting go out and be a complete buffoon, and make yourself a
Yeah, of
target.
course. No, no.
You have to pace yourself.
But you gotta be smart. You gotta be
gotta be
smart. You
smart,
gotta
like
actually play
pace.
smart. Yeah.
Pace yourselves. You got to use the right materials. You got to set the expectations, right? Do this in the smartest possible way so you don't, so that you're not doing a disservice to your students or putting yourself in some kind of harm's way
Yeah, exactly.
in your career. I'm referring to.
Definitely.
And really, just I think how you could resist this is really refusing to lie to students. That's a big resistance for me. Is I refuse to lie to my students about what English is and what it demands. Right? I make no bones about it. Like this is what we're up against.
hmm
This is what is required of you. Okay? And just lay that out in an outline for them that's easy for them to understand. So that they understand what the consequences are of them not fulfilling their end of the deal.
Hey, you got it. Amen.
So really it's just ethical teaching isn't really rebellion. It's just the refusal to abandon the students.
Again,
That's
the
where I'm
word
at.
rebellion, that actually it will depend on who's listening to this one. Because it might sound like a rebellion will be like something normal. Is it positive or negative? I don't know.
Hey,
You
listen,
know,
if anybody in my school watches this, they
that's
already know
it.
this. They already know this. So they're like, oh, we know Torres, we know how he is.
Yeah.
And they just go about their business because at the end of the day, they know my kids are going to be well taught.
Exactly. And one of the best thing is the result. In the end, yes, how good you were, it will be reflected in the kids. And in the end, they're gonna be the ones who are gonna be like, hey, that's my teacher from my
Yeah.
school, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's true. I mean, the older kids still come see me. The little kids, I'm like a rock star. I walk in, the kids mob me.
Beautiful.
It's a different experience for me, but it's one that I think has made my job a lot nicer to come to. In the
Yeah.
past, I've been with different principals that made life not so great, and I dreaded seeing them in the
Let's
hallway.
call it like the way it is, miserable.
But now, yeah, but now, hey, my principal leaves me alone. He lets me do my thing. He's got other problems. He doesn't need to deal. I'm not a problem to him. I don't bring him
Yeah.
problems. I don't want to bring him any problems. And so, in that sense, he doesn't have to worry about coming to talk to me about anything. And he likes it that way, and I like it that way too.
And I think that's a really good way actually to show respect. That's
It
respect
is.
because
It
that
is.
for sure the principal knows actually you're a very valuable asset for the school. Otherwise, they would be like bothering you or on top of you every 5 seconds and like checking on what you're doing like this, why you jumping this, why you doing it, everything. But
Right.
since
Like it's
they let you be, that means it's because result.
it's only because like I'm doing my job,
Mhm.
you know? And I think you reach a certain level in your career. I think I've kind of reached that senior level, if you will. Not senior in like I'm an old man senior, but
No,
senior in that I'm a seasoned veteran teacher. I understand very, very, very finely what it is that I'm capable of doing, what I'm ethically able to do, what I'm required to do, and balance these things out with what is ethically right for me to do. and
that
and,
sounds
and
good.
being able to do that and navigate the politics within a schoolhouse is really something you really have to work at it because it
Yeah,
isn't it isn't easy. But
of course.
uh, at the same time, it's worth it. I wouldn't be a very good teacher if I didn't take it seriously. You know, I think I
This
would be one of those
is
teachers that just they're showing up for a paycheck, or they do the bare minimum, or they're always exhausted, or they're always negative. And I don't want to live like that. I like going to
well,
work.
that's a big difference actually to have a teacher rooted like from the roots, coming from the inside, because that's a passion. And with the other ones that I called it the last time, that you actually got a little bit shocked when I said those backpacker teachers,
Yeah, the backpackers. Yeah,
backpackers, yeah.
yeah. I'm
So
not one of them for
that's a big
sure.
difference. That's a big difference there. So that's pretty good. So coming to a close here, with the rise of digital learning and standardized frameworks, are we expanding opportunity or quietly excluding the most vulnerable ones?
It's excluding the most
Learners.
vulnerable ones because tech assumes literacy before it teaches it.
Mhm.
You take AI, for example. All right. Now, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but AI is becoming more and more integrated in our lives, right? Now, a learner could use AI to help them, you know, uh, practice their language. I think that's becoming more and more commonplace. And soon they won't really need to type it in. They can just talk to it. Like I have Grok, I talk to Grok. I don't even have to type anything. I just talk to it and it'll respond what I'd want. We'll have
Yeah.
conversations, and that's great. But at the end of the day, if I have to read something, I have to read it, right? If I get a document, if I get an email, if I get a text message, I have to read it.
Yeah.
So the dependency on AI, I think, is has a dark side to it in terms of literacy that we can't ignore that. And
That's an
so that's like
exclusion.
it's an exclusion. It will exclude. There'll be more people like my brother. It'll be like, hey, Grok, can you read this letter for me? Instead of asking me, it'll be asking this AI to read it for me.
Exactly.
So
Sooner,
yeah,
AI will
sooner
take
sooner
over.
than you think. Probably by the time you put
Yeah,
this episode out. So platforms reward autonomy, right? They reward autonomy. Many learners haven't been allowed to develop, right?
mhm,
So I think if we're at a situation where, like, for example, coding, like I don't
mm,
know how to code to save my life, but I'm working on an app right now, And I was telling my wife about it. I was like, "Yeah, I'm working on this app." She goes, "You are?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm building this app." She goes, "You're building this app?" I'm like, "Okay, my GPT's building the app, but we're prototyping it." And she's like, "So you don't really know how this works? You're assigning this to an app to an AI?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I guess I am doing that." So really, I haven't developed the skills, and so in that sense, I'm kind of like that student who is using AI to do the literacy that I don't have.
Mm.
And the standardized frameworks actually they flatten lived experience because it goes back to what I was alluding to earlier in this conversation about putting people in boxes, right? And
Oh,
so when you standardize a framework, okay,
yeah.
everybody has to either fit in that box or they're an outlier.
Yeah.
And those are your two options. In the box or you're an outlier. And honestly, why does anybody have to be an outlier? you know, why can't the box just widen? But
Exactly.
this is the framework. This is the mindset of the framework. So it flattens the lived experience where like you're within this or you're outside of
Oh,
that,
you're out.
and
That's it.
you're
Yeah.
an outlier. Also, I think the data replaces dialogue. I think that the end all be all inside the administration meetings is they're just looking at numbers,
Yeah.
right? They're not talking about the human experience. They're not talking about how kids have made progress and now they went from a kindergarten reading level to a third grade reading level and they're in seventh grade because that's a
Yeah.
big jump for a newcomer. They don't discuss that because at the end of the day, that seventh grader isn't reading at seventh grade level. So they don't look at that as a success, right?
That is so sad.
and
Oh,
and so
Jesus.
the data is just xing out these conversations, these success stories. They dismiss them. They dismiss the
Mm.
success stories because they don't fit inside that framework. The
Exactly.
outlier, you're either in or you're out.
And that's the part actually. It's pretty sad actually to hear.
Yeah.
It's
And
reality, but it is what it is.
here's the thing, though, Mike, is these frameworks are really a set of conveniences, right? They really people who are sticklers, people who love numbers, people who live inside these little uh,
Boxes.
interworld, these boxes worlds, of numbers and stuff, and that distance themselves from students. That's why they dehumanize students by putting everything
Ooh.
inside of these data boxes, right?
Yeah.
Which is probably why the whole concept of agency being more of opportunity rather than of a student's real agency. They're able to be independent rather than dependent. They
Exactly.
can they can they can fit them inside these boxes as dependent or independent, as opposed to speaking to the human reality of it and what the consequences of those things are for that individual student. There are
Exactly.
real world, real life consequences for that. But as long as they keep them within these little boxes, these little frameworks, they don't look at them as humans. They look at them as just numbers.
And that sounds
So
so bad. It's
that
tragic.
that is the convenience of it. So the digital learning part of it, I think, has its own demons. The standardized framework in itself is itself a kind of a demon. Um, do they offer opportunities? I guess if you can land yourself inside the box, uh,
Exactly.
but but if not, you're excluded, and so therefore you're a throwaway. And I don't believe in throwaways.
Yeah. You got it. You said it. I think
Digital
that's most of
access,
us.
digital access without instructional support widens this gap. And I think there was a video. I can't if I can find that video, Mike. I'll share the link with you. This guy was talking about this study, and he had this chart, I think, and he was showing like look at the decline of literacy in public schools from 2010
Oh,
to 2010 to 2025,
yes.
and it is like this, right? It goes down, down, down. He goes,
Yeah.
what's the one correlating factor that happened in 2010, around that era, around that time? And he brought up cell phones.
TikTok.
He brought up social media.
Yeah.
He goes, it seems like the more tech we become, the less literate we become
Yeah.
in terms of. Now he said, now you can make the argument of correlation doesn't mean causation, and there's the proponents of that, and I get that. But man, if it stinks like crap, it
So
probably is.
just to give you a little bit of context, that this is part of the system, and this is something that the system is doing, and they're doing it
Right.
pretty smartly. I mean, they're actually just going against their own people. I gotta say. I mean, if we have to talk a little bit about it, but
Yeah.
they're doing it. They're doing it. But if you take a look at what happened to Bill Gates or Elon Musk or one of those guys, big rich guys, Tim Cook and all those ones, they totally banned their kids to have a phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do they do that? But they actually sell it to everyone, to the rest of the people, to have it. Why is that? There must be a
Well,
reason.
it's just like the guy the people who are in this AI race right now. I
Hmm.
saw the video the other day where they were asking this one of these AI geniuses. They're like, you do realize that there's an 80% chance that we can destroy the world with this AI if it reaches a certain level, right? And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but the 20% is worth it. And I'm like,
Whoa.
you're what?
Oh, no
So wait, so
way.
you're gonna make this decision on humanity's behalf? Who the hell are you, pal? And so
Oh,
like that is
Jesus.
where we are because they don't, it's that mentality of that framework it's like if you put just numbers in there, you dehumanize everything. You
Exactly.
dehumanize everyone. It's just a number, man. You're not a real person. You don't exist. Your emotions, your family, your love, your children, your family,
Wow.
your girlfriend or whatever, they don't care about any of that, right?
That's
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 the
pretty
sad
sad.
reality.
Yep.
But this goes right back to, what I alluded to earlier about the
Ethical and all
ethics.
that.
The
Hmm.
ethics is if you really want to get down to the spiritual part, man, that has to go beyond the human being. And I'll leave you with this, Mike, because I think this was very telling about
Yeah.
that video that I saw about that AI guy. And the guy was asking him, well, what is it? What is it that you really? I mean, let's say this AI will reach a point of almost a god status. And his response was, I want to be able to have a conversation with somebody with something well beyond the human intelligence. And that was his motive. He says, I'll probably die either way, but that's why I want to do it. Can you imagine? He's willing
Wow.
to risk humanity so he can have a conversation with this AI god. These are the people that are
Jesus
running our schools. These
Christ.
are people. I mean, come on, man. These are the
What
people
is
that are in charge
this?
of our society, man.
Mm.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I think we're all kind of in the same situation. We're all in the same boat, man.
Yeah.
If the captain of
Yeah,
the ship
definitely.
is going to ram us into an iceberg on purpose,
Oh, that's it. We're
I
doomed.
mean,
Yeah, we're
we're
doomed.
all going to sink.
Yeah.
We're all going to sink together. And
We're all doomed to collapse as a society, it seems.
let me just leave you with this, Mike. I think at the end of the day, I tell my kids, like, because there's all this politics that goes on,
Yeah.
and the kids are scared. They're like, Mr. Torres, are they going to deport us? Are they going to do all these things? I'm like,
Oh my
listen,
God.
okay. I'm like, listen to me. Listen to me. Okay. You only can control what you do inside this room. That's it. I cannot control what happens outside these walls. You cannot control what happens outside that paper you got to write on. And this is what we're going to focus on right now. We're not going to focus on the noise outside because we can't do anything about that. Not right here, not right now. I will tell you this much. I will protect you while you're inside these walls. While you're in here, Mr. Torres will make sure nothing bad happens to you. That's all I can guarantee you. And so I just try, like, I don't want to lie to my students. I just can't. I refuse to do it. Doesn't matter what my
Exactly.
personal feelings are. Doesn't matter what I personally believe. My politics, I cannot. I know there are other teachers that do it. I'm not going to be one of them. I'm not trying to reconfigure my kids' minds. I won't do it. I refuse to do it. Like, let them grow up and have their own mindset. Let them make up their own minds about what they're going to do with
Yeah.
their lives and
Their
what they
own
believe
concepts and
in.
everything. Yeah.
Let them weigh it out amongst themselves and figure out what's good for them. It's not going to be because I'm trying to force my ideas on them. And I know there's a lot of teachers who do that, and that's another ethical thing. And I'll leave you with that. Hopefully, people will come around and realize, hey, if we really want to help kids, if we really want to help our adult learners, really
Yeah.
do what is necessary for them in the time they're in those four walls with you. When they're in front of you, when they have that book in front of them, and you're playing whatever recording or you're watching whatever video and you're doing whatever repetitions you are with them, That's all that needs to matter. That's all that needs to matter.
Exactly.
That'll put you in a higher ethical plane than any ideology ever could. That will put you in a greater mindset than any philosophy ever could. Because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, it's about heart. It's about being a human being. It's about connecting with individuals who pin their hopes on you by coming into your class. Do right by them and
exactly.
teach them well, and hopefully we'll come out of this thing in this world and we'll just be a better place.
It's
That's
exactly, you
all you
said
can do.
it. Exactly. You know what, Jose? It's been what a wonderful pleasure actually to have you here in the show. And I really hope actually I can have you some other time. You are
Anytime, man.
very, oh, you're brilliant. I really like what you just said here, and I really hope the teachers, the new teachers who are actually trying to come into the career and experience this, I mean, you are the light, and they have somewhere actually to go or how to start helping the kids because that's the main purpose here.
Well,
Thank you very
that's
much,
I mean,
Jose.
I'm just like being honest, Mike, and I know you're an honest man, and that's why I enjoy talking with you. Anytime you want to have me on, anytime you want to tackle these controversial subjects,
You are no,
I'm more than
you're
happy to,
already
man.
in. You're already in. I mean, you just tell me. You say, "Hey, Mike, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, the whole week, let's do it." It's
we
amazing.
should
Thank you
we
very
should we should
much.
we should our next episode should be all just AI.
Ooh, that
We should
sounds good.
just AI. The
We gotta
good, the
do it.
bad, and the ugly. The good, the bad, and the
Yeah,
ugly, we'll
yeah,
call
yeah. Why not? And we make a really good promo there.
it. Anyway, Mike, make sure you include
Yes,
my channel. I want to teach English. I don't
please.
have as many videos as Mike does, but I definitely have some good ones out there, some doozies. Check out my website, iwtle.com. If you're teaching newcomers, especially, and especially if you're dealing with adults or adolescents, I got the book for you. I got a couple of them in there. And, just like and share this video, man. Mike, I
No,
want your channel to
definitely.
grow big, go big time, go viral.
Thank you. And one more thing here. Don't forget to send me all your information and I will actually just hang it in this video so people can just contact you directly. This has
Excellent. Okay,
been
Mike.
a wonderful episode. Thank you, Jose, and I'll see you next time.
Take care, my brother.